Mr. Naimur, in the last episode, you promised to teach us the entire history of philosophy, but you didn't actually talk about a single philosopher. Instead, you spent the time explaining why we should study philosophy, why it matters, the best way to approach it, and where we should begin. You also walked us through the stages in the history of philosophy, explained the Neolithic Revolution and its connection to the rise of cities, and discussed Greek mythology and its influence. But you never actually introduced a single philosopher or explained any of their ideas. In this episode, that's going to change. Today, I'll introduce you to Thales, Anaximander, Anaximenes, Pythagoras, and Heraclitus. As I mentioned before, around 700 BC, Homer and Hesiod wrote down the full body of Greek mythology. This led to the first wave of criticism, and the earliest philosophers were those who broke away from that tradition. They began asking entirely new questions and searching for different answers. They challenged the belief that the gods in Greek mythology, who acted like flawed human beings, could be truly divine. Instead, they argued that the answers to questions about nature and society should come from nature itself, and through understanding the laws that govern society. At that time, philosophy was pursued purely for the sake of truth. These thinkers didn't care whether their ideas led to economic growth, earned them recognition, improved their personal lives, or brought them money. For them, philosophy was a labor of love. Knowledge was pursued simply for the sake of knowledge. There may have been a social reason behind this attitude. Ancient Greek society was built on slavery, and manual labor was looked down upon. Mental work wasn't even considered work at all. Because of this, early Greek philosophy had little to no connection with economics or the practical world. This attitude might also explain why, even today, some people believe that philosophy has no practical use. The earliest philosophers asked deep and timeless questions, such as, what is the purpose of the world? How and when was it created? Why was it created? What is the purpose of humanity? What is the meaning of life? Do our senses deceive us? Or is reality truly as we perceive it? What lies behind the reality we see? They believed that all matter in the universe was ultimately made from one fundamental substance. This idea is called monism, and it will appear again and again throughout the history of philosophy. Greek philosophy is generally divided into three major periods. Pre-Socratic philosophy, including Thales, Anaximander, Anaximenes, Pythagoras, Heraclitus, Parmenides, and others. Socratic philosophy, including Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Hellenistic philosophy, including the Cynics, Stoics, Epicureans, Skeptics, and Neoplatonists. We'll explore all three of these periods, but today we're focusing only on pre-Socratic philosophy. Even this early period can be divided into three groups. The founders of philosophy, the critics who challenged those founders, the synthesizers who combined earlier ideas with the criticisms to form new answers. Our journey begins in Miletus, a city in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey. Miletus was a coastal city with a thriving trade network, and it became the birthplace of philosophy. The very first school of philosophy emerged here, the Milesian school. Depending on the textbook, you might also see it referred to as primitive monist materialism, primitive materialism, or simply natural philosophy. Regardless of the name, it was here in Miletus that philosophy as we know it truly began.